Now, I don't know if you've heard of hair analysis, but if you do go to, say, the Mind Body Wallet or the Mind Body Spirit Festival, you can pay anywhere between $100 to $200, and they'll either send your hair away and analyse it for you and tell you what's wrong with you, or they might just stick it into a little magic machine on site, and they can print out a list of things that you might be allergic to or that you shouldn't be eating. But one of the things that they tend to do, and this is quite common amongst alternative medicine, is they use a lot of scientific terminology and also technology and machinery to make it sound legitimate. This is the kind of stuff that you'll find in their pamphlets that you can pick up at Mind Body Spirit. Now, I've highlighted in yellow just some of the scientific jargon that they kind of pepper in their literature. And to somebody who is not a scientist or doesn't have medical training, this kind of looks like it could be right, because it's using a lot of terminology that sounds sciencey, it's something that you might not understand, and so to a layperson you could look at that and think, well, that might be right, it might be legitimate. But in fact, hair analysis is a legitimate scientific technique, and it has been hijacked by some purveyors of alternative medicine for use that's not, for which there's no evidence that it actually works. But in science, hair analysis does have a basis, and that is that if you consume something that gets into your bloodstream, so for example, it's often used to diagnose heavy metal poisoning, and so it's also useful in drug testing in sport. This bloke here, do you know him? Ben Cousins. He's what team did he play for, Elias?
Richmond.
Right, okay. So I guess you probably know that he had a problem with drugs and alcohol, and he was actually sent over to the States, I think, to go to rehab, and then ended up having a 5-day cocaine binge and was found with some blonde in a hotel or something. I don't know if that's for sure, but here he is being arrested, and when he was rehired by his next football team, they said, well, we'll take you back on, but you're going to have to go through hair analysis testing every 3 months because we want to make sure that you're on the wagon. And that is a legitimate use for hair analysis. I picked this up from a Mind Body Spirit Festival in Sydney, and they tout it as the affordable way to find out what is making you sick, and they're using it to test for allergies. So this cost around $150 to $200. They would take a little strand of your hair, they'd put it into a beaker. Now, mind you, this beaker was just a beaker. There wasn't any solution in it. There wasn't any acid in it. It was just a beaker. And a machine that I was told was based on quantum, excuse me, would make a lot of like little needles would move up and down and lights would flash and it would tell you what's wrong with you. Conveniently, they would have supplements available to help you if they found there was something wrong. So here's a list of some of the items that they might find you're allergic to once they test your hair. There's about 300 here. You'll notice that this machine is so sensitive that it can detect whether you're allergic to Coke, Diet Coke or Pepsi Max. So there's a lot of quantum being used in there, I think. Secondly, it's so sensitive it can detect between different brands of chocolate. So perhaps it's the Darrell Lee that you're allergic to, not the Lindt chocolate. Or maybe it's the Cadbury's, not the Nestle. So, I mean, that's the quantum, I think. And also different types of washing powder. So perhaps you shouldn't be using Omo, but it's okay to use cold power. Here's another part of the list of things that they can detect. Obviously, you can't read that, but I just wanted to point out that they can pick up tabbouleh, bovril, hummus, and Bonox. I don't know who even drinks Bonox anymore. And whether you're allergic to gherkins or cheese twisties, I don't know about chicken twisties, they didn't specify, or burger rings. So I kind of like to call this the random allergy generating machine because this stuff seems pretty random to me.